I feel like if I just said like MILF sex on my forehead, that'd be like a normal Thursday for me. I feel like you guys, you wish you were like me.
Yeah.
In the words of Nina Hartley, your orgasm is your responsibility.
Hey, I'm Ariel Demure.
Hi, I'm Maddie Collins. Hey guys, I'm Maya Wolf.
Hi, I'm Little Puck.
I'm Bree Mills, and you're listening to the Adult Time Podcast.
All right, we're just starting by like giving a little squeeze to our Adult Time Tim support.
They're
plushies.
very supportive.
Freya Parker. Why haven't we met before?
It's been 4 years.
It's been 4 years, which is really just it's my fault. I take the blame. Like I take the blame. I'm not on set all that often. I come in and I'm directing more now these days, but I haven't as much in the last 4 years. So I apologize because I have heard so much about you, and I'm going to tell you like the first thing I heard about you.
I'm so ready for this.
Okay. So this would have been like probably pretty shortly after you came in.
Okay.
And like when I started producing content, it was making GIRLSWAY. So that was like our first brand that we created 10 years ago this October.
Oh,
it just, it goes to show.
Crazy.
So I was known as like the lesbian who made the Lesbian series for like a number of years in this industry. And people still feel obliged to let me know when like a really good girl performer has come into the business. Ooh. And that's how your name is like forever twinned in my mind with Freya Parker, lesbian.
I feel so special.
Yes. So you were highly recommended for our lesbian scenes by like everybody I talked to.
That's so sweet. Yeah. I remember my first GIRLSWAY shoot too. I was like, I love this. I was having like the time of my life. So that makes sense. That's so sweet. I love that.
Yes. So that's my introduction to Freya Parker was, hey, you got to check out this lesbian. She's really good in lesbian scenes, and she might be kind of gay. Just a little bit gay.
Just a little.
But what about you? What was your first introduction to Adult Time?
Adult Time. Well, so I'm trying to think. I believe the first time I shot for Adult Time, it was for GIRLSWAY.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could tell you it was because I had been told I need to cast you in a lesbian scene.
That was December of 2020, and I was like 2 months into the industry. So they were like, "Oh, you're going to shoot for Adult Time," and I had known about Adult Time, but I didn't like from what I had seen, but I didn't like know about Adult Time. And that's the beautiful thing. I came in with like this understanding of certain companies when I got into the industry, but like I've obtained all this information about it. I just love shooting for Adult Time too. Like I've shot for Adult Time so much.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I just remember it was such a different day than what I was used to. And there were a lot of really cool people on set, people that I still get to see today.
It would have been Casey directing that, right? Yeah.
And which I was also really nervous about. I was like, oh my God, Casey Calvert's like directing my scene today. I was so nervous. So
she may have been the one that recommended it. She probably was.
She's so great. Yeah. So it was really special. And I did 2 scenes that day. And it was just lovely. Like I remember I went back, I was staying in a model house at the time, and I was like, I had the best day. I got to shoot with all these people. So yeah.
Well, that's nice. That's a nice thing. There could be a lot worse things.
This is very true.
Welcome 4 years later and many scenes later to the Adult Time Podcast.
Thank you.
The whole goal of today is like one, for us to actually have a conversation.
Yeah.
To talk about Freya Parker, talk about your career. I think we got to talk about MILFs, which I understand is a certain passion.
It's definitely a passion for me.
Passion for you. I want to talk about some of the cool projects you've done with Adult Time, but we got to start by a little icebreaker round.
I'm ready.
So this is a game of Would You Rather.
Oh boy, okay.
And I am not responsible for any of these questions.
Okay.
I am only the messenger. But they spark like a good, I guess, kind of like contemplation on what you actually would do.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one. Would you rather walk around in public all day with your favorite porn niche tattooed on your forehead, or have to have a vivid sex dream about a neighbor of yours that you have to tell them about in detail?
Oof.
And these are only like, this is a one-time thing either way. You don't have to spend the rest of your life with this niche tattoo.
I'm going to do the niche tattoo.
Okay, so what is the niche?
The niche is MILFs. And I already have so many MILF outfits where it just says like, I like older women, or like I wear that shirt out all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like if I just said like MILF sex on my forehead, that'd be like a normal Thursday for me.
It would be it would be like an open invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So
would do
not
it.
only would you wear it, but you would actually have it coordinated with
Yes.
like the rest of your MILF branded apparel.
Absolutely. I have some shorts that says future MILF.
Yeah.
I would be wearing those. You know, they wouldn't see it coming. It'd be great.
All right. So would you rather have sex, be able to have sex? So like the only time you have sex, but every time you do, you have to do it in a vat of Jell-O,
Okay.
or you never get to have sex again.
Does that exclude myself?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Masturbation in the, like any sexy stuff involves being in a tub of Jell-O.
It would be the Jell-O.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be risking a UTI, but it would be fun.
Yeah.
And I might get injured. But you know what? I couldn't do the no sex thing. I thought about it, but it wouldn't work for me.
Yeah. And you would get to pick the kind of Jell-O, so you can get a bit of variety in your life.
Okay, I would just do like plain gelatin with nothing in it.
Yeah.
That would be the best solution.
Well, that would
for
probably
me.
be the best thing for the UTI.
Oh yeah. No UTI
Practical.
there. Yeah.
With the MILF tattoo
Lovely.
on your forehead. Amazing. All right. So far, these have been very straightforward. So here's one. All right. You have this affliction. Okay. So you can you still come, like you still orgasm, but it happens completely outside of your control, spontaneously, and always in public.
Okay.
Or you can have all the sex you want, but you never orgasm again.
Wow, that sounds awful. Wow. No. I think I would do the spontaneous orgasms, because let me tell you something. Every time I get hurt, I make a sex noise. Like if I stub my toe, I'll be like, oh, ah. And every single time my friends or my family members are like, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of, that's kind of the situation already anyways.
Well, I guess you can also explain what's going on.
Right.
So it's not your fault.
Right.
So like if you're at Thanksgiving dinner and it happens, like it's an affliction.
Yeah. I'd be like, you guys, you wish you were like me.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually, it would be a really good story.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. We'll talk about that later. That everything is a good potential for an idea. Okay. So finally, since you've got an answer for everything, would you rather give up sex for a year or give up masturbating for a year?
I think I'd rather give up sex for a year, only because sometimes I get disappointed by people, which is not their fault. In the words of Nina Hartley, your orgasm is your responsibility. And when I'm with myself, I never disappoint myself.
That's true.
Sometimes when I'm with other people, I'm in my head or something is just not working out. So
Yeah.
I think I could take a break from other people for a year.
Yeah.
And then when I come back, I'd be super excited and happy to be there.
Right. It would it almost sounds like a good strategy.
Yeah.
Right? Like sit on the bench for a little bit, keep yourself happy, come back in, be ready to go.
Yeah.
You mentioned Nina Hartley. Have you ever worked with Nina Hartley?
No.
Oh.
I just adore her so much. I have a poster of her on my wall still. She's like my main lady. So
I got the chance to work with her a couple times. And she actually won. It would have been right before I think she retired, for good until Nina, you come back. And it was a non-sex role she came and played for one of our Future Darkly episodes, which is a sci-fi series we have.
okay.
But it was just so fun because I was also doing a cameo in that. We were kind of masked science. She was like the lead scientist in this sort of weird breeding pod environment we'd created. But she is so cool. Have you ever had a chance to meet her and talk to her?
Not even, no. I admire her from over here.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day, maybe
Okay.
one day we'll be in the same place at the same time. But
I wonder, I mean, I haven't done the conventions really too much since the pandemic. So I don't know if she's out or about, but I will promise you this, Freya. If she's ever still around, even if, interested, and like I said, she came and did some acting gigs with us.
yeah.
if she ever comes back to do that, I will absolutely bring you into that production so
I
you
would
can
love
hear.
that so
because
much.
she's the OG.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
She has such a character, and she's just, yeah. I don't know. Everything about her is astounding. And yeah, she's been in for forever. So
My wife, who was a performer, one of her early kind of like girl scenes that she did was a scene, I think for Sweetheart Video, that when Dana was directing it, and it was with Nina Hartley.
Yeah.
And she like says that Nina just like basically just picked her up, threw her down, and like was doing, and she didn't even know like what was happening. But like, oh my gosh.
I love that in a woman. I really do.
Yeah. So. All right, Nina, we love you wherever you are. Great segue into the subject of MILFs.
MILFs.
Okay, so what was your MILF awakening?
MILFs. Wow, there were so many. Yeah, there were lots of MILF awakenings. I've had so many. You know what, though? I constantly tell people, like, I think the first MILF that I really liked was Glenn Close in 101 Dalmatians, like
Okay.
the 90s live action.
Yeah.
Which I'm not proud to say. I don't know why.
We're going to talk about this.
She was so evil and like awful, but at the same time, I was like, I'm into it.
Have you seen Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction?
Yes.
Now, and did you like Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction? No.
No. I need a mean, scary
Yeah.
lady.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it was just, well, I mean, she's great. Fantastic. Loved her performance. But I don't think that I think that her craziness threw me off a little.
Yeah.
It was a bad crazy, not a good crazy.
Yeah, it's not a good crazy,
No.
for sure.
So yeah, it was that. And then, I don't know, I just grew up like Kate Blanchett, Vera Farmiga, like all these strong female actresses. I was like, why do I feel this way?
Yeah. Cruella de Vil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because I like the MILFs.
And you like MILFs who are, like you said, like in charge, strong, a little bit domineering.
Yes. And I like to kind of, I don't know, I'm a switch. So sometimes I like to be in control, but naturally it just usually flows that the MILF is, has more of the power. Yeah. I like to switch back and forth every once in a while.
Who are some of your favorite MILFs to work with?
Oh my gosh. Some of my favorite MILFs to work with. I love Shay Seitz.
Aha.
Shay is lovely.
I just did a Pure Taboo movie.
Yes,
that she kind
heard.
of co-wrote, that's coming out like very soon.
Hey, sis. Aren't you gonna let me in?
What? Who is that? Honey, who is that?
What's going on?
I don't know. What the fuck?
I love it.
And she's amazing.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's lovely. I honestly, anytime I have the privilege of working with a MILF, like Penny Barber,
Oh yeah.
oh my God. Yeah, I'm just happy to be there.
Penny Barber's like the one podcast I've done where like within 5 seconds, it was not me giving an interview. It was Penny giving an interview, and I was just giggling and just there for the whole ride. Yeah, like
She has that effect
she's
on
a
people.
force, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think there's ever been one MILF that I haven't enjoyed working with. They're all just very lovely. There are so many that I'd still love to work with, and I'm like,
Have you worked with Dee Williams?
no.
Okay, she would be an awesome MILF
I've
for
heard
you.
great
in the
things.
as matchmaker, I would say.
Love it.
Because she's so like the sweetest.
Yeah.
Like just so nice, like so giving, so chill. But she will do some when that camera turns on,
Yeah.
and she's just
freaky.
She's yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that would be one I would recommend. Reagan Fox. Have you worked with Reagan?
No, which is funny because we always see each other at conventions and we have mutual friends, obviously her and Shay.
Yeah.
But no, hopefully. I literally, anytime someone's like, what MILF haven't you worked with that you want to work with? And I'm always like, Reagan Fox. So maybe my time will come.
What would be your dream scenario with Reagan Fox? Let's just write it together right now. Reagan, I hope you were listening.
I think, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I get it. It does numbers. People enjoy it. I have nothing against the stepmom thing, but I'm really into like people, like women with like professions, like if they're a teacher. Oh, I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So she was like my teacher and I was like her student.
Ooh, or like you're like the new TA and she's like there to like teach you how to run the
Yes.
class. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, I've never been with a woman before. And she's like, let me tell you all about it with my mouth.
Yeah.
So that would be great for me.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. What have you had any like has most of your sort of MILF obsession been within your time in the industry? You've been able to kind of live it out, or did this start? Well, I know Cruella was sort of like earlier on, but have you had a lot of MILF exploits in the real world?
Well, it's funny. I've been with MILFs off camera, but like they've been a part of this industry. I've actually I don't think I've ever been with an older woman off camera, except for recently. I'm going to be very careful about what I say.
Yes. Be mindful.
But be mindful, be demure.
Yes.
But I went to a summer camp and I went there with Chanel Cameron, who we'll talk about. And I was sitting there with her at a table, and it was like the orientation night at summer camp. And there's no one at this table with us, and it's dinner time. And this like group of these 3 MILFs walk over, and they're like, "Hey, can we like sit here with you ladies?" And Chanel just turns to me and she's like, "They just gravitate towards you." And I was like, yeah, I don't know what happened. And so we spent the entire summer camp with them.
With the MILF gang.
With the MILFs. And then I took a liking to one of them. And she's a hottie.
Sparks
We made
it.
out in a pool, it was great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great summer camp.
It was great. And it was also special for me. I felt very validated because she wasn't in porn.
Yeah.
So it was like, an older woman that wants to be with me that doesn't have sex for a living. I feel so special. So yeah, it was really nice, and she was hot. So I had a great time.
I have an idea for it would be, I guess, like a movie. You have a family that has parents that are at their wits' end, 18 plus, of course, but like kids that like won't leave home, and they're just it's a situation. So they call in. Remember Nanny 911?
Yes.
So they call in basically the equivalent of Nanny 911. But it would be like Penny Barber
That's amazing.
and Shay Sites and like all these MILFs that are
Yeah.
coming in just to like clean house and
love
like get
that.
things like
That's
back in
amazing.
order.
Yeah.
So like a dommy mommy, not mommy in the sense of like you look up, you respect this
Yes.
woman. Yeah. Like a nanny, I don't know, nanny 666 or something like that.
In that case, I'm still
Sign
at
you up.
home. I haven't moved
You
out.
will, yeah, exactly. You will be like the delinquent in the case. What happens at an adult summer camp?
Adult summer camp is great because you just have a bunch of adults that are there to meet other people. And I feel like, especially living in LA, you go to social events and people are there because they feel like they have to be, not necessarily because they want to be. And adult summer camp was like a bunch of people that just wanted to get together, and they have like the Olympics. So everyone is on like a different colored team, and we all play to win. And there's like a lake and a pool and games. And there's a party every night. It's like a theme.
That's cool.
So the first night was like space theme. The second night was like race car, NASCAR situation. You just meet a bunch of people and hang out, and it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I've never actually heard of this before. Is this a thing? Like, is this something that's catching on? Should I be signing up for this next summer?
Honestly, yes. I plan to go every summer now, but I think I think it's probably taken off after COVID. I think people needed something to do like away from everyone. And it's like at an actual camp in the mountains. So you're like secluded, and I didn't even look at my phone the whole week. It was like so great.
Well, that in itself is a blessing.
Yeah.
So Freya Parker, I know that you come from kind of a real fan origin where you were a big porn fan. Tell me your journey into porn and becoming Freya Parker.
Pornography. So it's so funny because now I've been in for 4 years, and I'm just almost 4 years, and I look back at like my tiny 19-year-old self, where like all I wanted to do was direct. That's what I came in to do. I looked up to so many directors coming into the industry, and I think that the timing was just because of COVID. I needed a job, and I just quit my job. So I was like, oh, I'll do some camming, I'll do this, that, and the other. And then that turned into me doing porn and signing with an agent and moving to LA. And now I've been doing porn for 4 years, and I have not directed a single thing, when in reality, that's kind of what I came in wanting to do. So, you know, it's very interesting. I still have goals and things that I aspire to do, but that's kind of the short story. Is I just, I admired so many people and directors, and just kind of fell into it. So.
With the directors that you admired, was it that you like specifically were interested in directing adult content, or was it directing just as a general medium?
It was definitely porn, because I found porn to be very interesting. It wasn't even like, I didn't watch it to get off, really. It was just intriguing to me. And I was like, wow, like I can enjoy this on my own time, and I don't need anyone else to like share this with. This is like my thing, you know? And I don't know. I liked that. I liked what it made me feel at 19, because I also was very shy sexually.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, like this is kind of like opening me up, and I felt more comfortable with myself. Yeah. So I liked that, and I wanted to like kind of bring my ideas to life after that. So
it's cool that it was sort of a sort of private thing that you could lose yourself in, but that your instinct was like, well, how would I make my own?
Right.
So what were some of your ideas, or what are some of like your ideas as you look to perhaps one day doing that within the industry?
I've written 2 features that I have yet to pitch to anyone, but I love anything with like a power play situation, because obviously that's something that I like. But I don't know. I like things that are a little bit controversial. Like I really like the aspect of like bringing in religious aspects into pornography, because people are so against that. But also it like really opens people's eyes. Like, oh, interesting. You know, that's not something that people really talk about. So I enjoy stuff like that. And just kind of taking real world experiences that I've had and then making them into something. Yeah. So
as a director, that is like, I find that it's the best way to just process whatever it is that I'm kind of like going through, or taking an experience and manifesting it as art, as a way to kind of like explore it further. I love that. Like that's what, to me, art is, how I like to use it. And I like making people think about what they've watched.
Right.
Not in a judgmental way, but in a way that, because porn is such a intimate kind of private, for a lot of people, like a thing you do on your own.
Right.
Or, you know, you can really reach somebody. You have their attention in that moment.
Right.
And you can do a lot with it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people miss the fact that porn is a form of speech. And, you know, so I think that there's so many ways to express yourself through pornography and through film. And definitely through directing. So
the origin of Pure Taboo, what I really wanted to do with that brand was I saw all of, you know, like the sort of taboo content in porn. Obviously it was very popular, and it was always like a joke. Like, oh, tee, you know, my stepdad caught me masturbating. Isn't this funny? It's not funny.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to do intentionally with that product is like, I wanted to change not the content, but the tone, so that we're not going to make it a joke.
Right.
We're going to make it like very dense and complicated,
Yeah.
and we're going to show real emotion, and we're going to show, you know, we're going to show people objectively so that everybody is watching it thinking like, oh, I'm just going to get off on this, but you're going to leave feeling very affected by what you watch. And
Right.
again, not necessarily in a judgmental way, but I did want it to be a critique of desire, so that like you need to reflect on what it is that turns you on, and to think about it, and to process it, and to
Right.
explore it. And somebody once said that it's porn with a side of guilt, which I always thought was like
That's
a really good
amazing.
way to describe it, because yeah, you don't have to, you can love it or hate it, but you watch an episode and you never forget it.
Right.
And to me, that's the power of art, right? Is like you can be transgressive that way,
Right.
especially when you don't have to censor, you know, the sort of sex and sexuality element.
Mm.
So I love that, even, you know, in almost everything I do, regardless of like the genre or the theme, I want people to walk away with it not just being disposable masturbation material, right? Like really like making people sit and think about, you know, what they've done. So
Yeah.
I encourage you on that journey as well.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I love that. Actually, you saying that just reminded me of a Pure Taboo scene that I watched with Tommy Pistol once. And it had that effect on me. I was
Yep.
like, wow. And he's so good at staying in character too.
Yep.
He doesn't break. So like halfway through the scene, you're like, oh
Yep.
God. And then you're like, oh, okay. There is a lot of reflection even while you're watching it.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Well, and it's like, again, most people probably don't see this, but like as a filmmaker, like there's all kinds of things that you do to create that effect. So one of the things that I really love doing is leaving moments in the story that you normally don't see. So even little things like just somebody getting dressed in the room alone. Normally you kind of cut through that. It's boring.
yeah.
But when you just leave it and you're watching it,
Right.
then you start to feel like, ooh, I'm just watching this person
Yeah.
that doesn't know that anybody's watching them. Or even things like that just sort of build tension, like, you know, letting moments hang like a long time. Like you don't quick cut through so much, and staying in character, especially when the sex starts. Like that's a huge thing.
Yes.
And things that you can infer, you know, like I always like to leave episodes with a cliffhanger, you know, where like you're thinking about what could possibly those characters be doing after the episode ends, right? So it's all like quite a fun challenge as a filmmaker to do.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite scenes to film?
Look, honey, the first step towards realizing your dream might be building a family. This is Grace, and she's gonna be able to take care of you no matter how sick you feel.
Where are you going?
I need to go shopping.
I already have everything prepared for you.
Hey, you can't drink that much caffeine. Honey, it's just not a good time. Okay, it's just not a good time.
Matthew, please.
It's just
Matthew, just give me your hand. Give me your hand. Give it to me.
get out of my way.
It's just fine.
Get out of my way.
What's her temperament like?
Worrying.
Not good.
I want you to make me mother.
Let's take some time to think about it.
I want you to make me mother.
What do you think?
I don't want you here anymore. I want you to make me a mother.
You're not supposed to be doing this. You know you're on bed rest.
I want you to make me a mother.
We're gonna have to make a decision in her perineum.
I want you to make me a mother.
There you go, Mama. You're doing such a good job.
I want you to make me a mother.
Laura, you are fully dilated. All right, it is time for you to start pushing.
I want you to make me a mother.
I know how sacred motherhood is. You're bringing a baby into this world. Isn't that just so special?
Some of my favorite scenes. Well, obviously the lesbianism.
What you're best known for, other than
This is
your love
true.
of MILFs.
What's funny too, because I was speaking to a coworker just the other day, and I was like, I don't have a niche in this industry. Lots of people are successful because they have big boobs, or they're really good at anal, or you know they can squirt. And I was like, I have none of those things.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, I don't really have a niche, and maybe that comes with time and then he was like, no, like your niche is girl. Like that's what you are good at. That's what you do. And I was like, So definitely girl, just because it feels so comfortable to me. It just flows. I have no doubt going into a scene like that because I just know exactly what I need to do. And I just love women so much that there's no, anxiety. Whereas sometimes when I'm doing other scenes, there's not even really anxiety. It's just like I'm a little bit more tuned in because, the second time I ever had sex with a man was on camera. So like I have way more experience with women and that's where I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What do you love about having sex with women?
I think I just feel very in tune with women. Like I like how soft they are. I like how it flows so naturally for me. And it doesn't even really matter who it's with. Sometimes you'll have a better scene than, other days. But overall, I just think that women are, I don't know, I'm never not attracted to women. It's very hard to not be attracted to them. Yeah. So, I don't know. There's just 1,000 things that I could say about them. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't even think about that because it feels like, second nature to me at this point.
Yeah. And would you with your first few experiences with women, did you find yourself more of a natural giver or receiver, or like you said, you like the best of both worlds?
It's interesting because I remember the first time I ever had sex with a woman, I was expecting to be the receiver because I was like, I've never done this before. Yeah. I'm just going to let her do whatever she wants. I'll just be here. And I mean, it was like that in the beginning. And then the roles kind of switched like halfway through. And then, she was like, I was doing things to her, but she was telling me to do them. So I was like, oh.
Is this now, okay, I know that you were recently on Holly's podcast because I listened to Holly's podcast. Yes. And I remember, is this the story about the woman that just like threw you down and did crazy shit to you for the first time? Okay, when I listened to that, I was like, my God, you need to recreate that.
I know.
So if you ever want to recreate that, you know who to call.
That would be amazing.
It would be.
It was so pornographic too. I was like, wow, this is like nuts, because I really thought like, oh, she's just gonna have sex with me and I'm just gonna lay here because I don't know what I'm doing. And yeah, no, like I remember I put like 2 fingers in and she's like, put another one in. And I'm like, I've never done this before.
But it's such a good first lesbian experience. Yes. Like my takeaway from that interview was that needs to faithfully be created. Not as a silly joke comedy, but like, let's do it real.
Yes.
And it is such an authentic, like wonderful story that, again, open invitation. Like if you ever want to do that, you call us.
I would love to.
Yeah. It's like, we have a series called True Lesbian, which is like all like stories inspired by like real experience.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a perfect candidate.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I think that, I mean, that day I learned like, oh, I can actually make women feel good. Like okay. So it was a very mind-opening experience.
A good burst of confidence from the get-go. Yeah. My first experience was not like that.
I hear this a lot.
Yeah.
Would you like to share?
Well, I actually immortalized it in a movie. So I did a movie, this would have been right before the pandemic, so right before your time, called Teenage Lesbian, that I wanted to be able to tell my coming out story because I was a teenager in the 90s, which is like pretty much the last decade before gay rights really started to get talked about on a national scale. And so I was very blessed that I didn't suffer too much homophobia. I had friends. I took a cheerleader to the prom. Like I did pretty well overall, but I still got bullied. I still, I got thrown into a dumpster in the first week of high school. And, I wanted to sort of show that time capsule moment as an authentic coming out story. And at the time, like we'd done GIRLSWAY, it was a success, but GIRLSWAY is like a fantasy universe, right? It's not realistic stories.
Right.
But I had done a series called Sharing the Bed on GIRLSWAY that was still male gaze fantasy stuff, but did delve a little bit with realistic stories. And I wanted to push the needle to see if people would like something that was like a hyper realistic portrayal of queer experience. And at the time, Chris Scott, was working a lot with us.
right.
And I knew they would do a really good job kind of playing this fictionalized version of myself. And I took a bunch of things that had really happened and just sort of retold them within a character's 18th year, like kind of final year of school.
Right.
And I was called I called it Teenage Lesbian because my best friend in high school's older brother always called me, Bree the Teenage Lesbian, kind of after like the Teenage Witch, right?
Yeah.
So it came from there. And it ended up, winning all the awards that year and doing really well, and still I think is the most viewed thing on the platform. So it really proved that that realistic stories have a place.
That's amazing.
But my first experience was terrible. It was like a girl who would invite me over after school, and we would take naps.
Oh, right.
And stuff happened during those naps.
Yeah.
And we never, ever, ever talked about it.
Oh God.
Which still kind of a little torments me to this day.
Yeah, that's
'cause it's rough. Yeah. Well, and just kind of, especially in the concept of just communication and consent is woo, I know we both knew what was happening, but it was very don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah.
And then there was one night, it was New Year's Eve, and this had been happening. We were just best friends. This has been happening for a while. And we were pre-drinking before a New Year's Eve party or something. And she kissed me on the cheek, and then we kind of looked at each other, and then we kissed, and then she just had a real vehement reaction where she pushed me off, was no, I don't want to do this.
Oh, girl.
And yeah, that was my first experience. But
The
it's
call
all
is
in
coming
Teenage
from inside
Lesbian.
the house.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. It's all on immortalized in Teenage Lesbian.
Wow.
So, but it was a time and a place. And I was the only I was the token lesbian at my high school.
Yeah.
There was me and
Same.
a token gay guy, and that was it.
Yeah. I had short hair, and it was not a good time for me.
No.
Yeah. Same.
No. But
Yeah.
but it's crazy how much has changed kind of since then,
Mm-hmm.
And I was partially inspired to do the movie because working with so many kind of younger people who, you talk to them about certain milestone moments. I'd be I remember the Ellen coming out episode, and everybody's what?
Huh? Yeah.
They're no, you don't understand. I had to sneak into the back of the one gay community center to try to watch that. Yeah. So it's just a reminder that it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, but so much has happened. But also all the more reason to stay on top of, social change and progression and acceptance. And
Well, and it
all
doesn't,
that.
I even look in the world 2024, I feel we're just in a different world today, and people are way more accepting now than they have probably ever been.
Yeah.
And even me, I grew up with gay uncles, and my mom was very accepting growing up.
Yeah.
But overall, even when I was 14, I was I don't like women. What?
Yeah.
No, not me. Well, not my white picket fence and husband and dog. What do you mean? And so then I was oh, and then it really took me I'm oh, this is just internalized homophobia I'm experiencing.
Oh,
I'm allowed to have all those things still.
Yeah.
So.
And it's really true. It does. I grew up in a super queer household. My dad came out when I was 8.
Oh,
we
wow.
we lived with him. He was he was and still is a gay rights activist. And I was one of those mile away gays where there was never a doubt.
Right.
Where I fall on the Kinsey scale was pretty far on the gay side.
Yeah.
And I still had to come to a point where I felt comfortable vocalizing that I was gay, just because of, I think for me it was at the time, we're so influenced by what we watch.
Right.
And at the time I remember seeing Beverly Hills 90210 or Saved by the Bell or whatever shit I was watching at the time.
Right.
And I wanted to take Kelly Kapowski to the prom,
Yeah.
I wanted that. And I wasn't one of the guys. So I had a lot of gender confusion that ultimately wasn't rooted in my own gender so much as it was rooted in just not seeing myself represented and only having stereotypical depictions to fall back on.
Yeah.
So I think just through internet and everything, people now it's so much easier to find oh, you can be gay and it's all of these things,
Yeah.
So
Well, and also just having representation, like you said.
Yeah.
Like growing up, there were so many like gay girl movies that I watched, and I'm like, thank God.
Okay,
for
what was your
these.
favorite? What was your favorite gay girl
Okay,
movie?
I literally download them anytime I'm like on a plane or I'm flying somewhere. I'll download like 5 or 6 of them just to watch. But tell me if you know any of these.
Okay.
First of all, Carol.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Carol
of course,
came out in
yeah.
2015, but I loved it. Loving Annabelle.
That rings a bell, but I don't think I've seen it.
Okay, it's literally like an adult time movie waiting to happen.
Okay, good.
So you have to watch it. And then, God, what is the other one? There were so many. Oh, Bloomington, which the storyline is not good at all. But I still watch it because I'm like, gay.
Have you seen Bound?
Bound, yes, I've seen Bound.
Whew, that was like oh, there can be really hot gay girls moment.
The L word changed the trajectory
yeah.
of my life.
Yeah.
So it's just like all of those things. Once I started being able to like watch stuff like that, I was like, oh wait, I'm allowed to like, oh, okay. And that's where pornography comes in too, because it's important to, obviously when you have like, okay, we're gonna do girl sex, and then it's like 2 straight women that
like scissoring.
Yeah. And you're like, ooh, that's not what I had in mind.
Yeah.
But that's where it's nice to see real, authentic
Yeah.
performances and people that want to work together.
Yep. And the fans like it too. So.
Yeah, and they can tell. So.
Yeah, they definitely can tell. So speaking of like really good real world lesbian content, you were in SPUN this year.
If we're gonna relive high school, let's relive high school.
Oh my God. I'm nervous.
What the fuck are you nervous about?
I mean, we haven't seen each other since we all went off to college to begin with. What if they don't even like me anymore?
Spin around. Are you trying to impress someone?
You look great.
Hi.
This is my girlfriend. I hope you don't mind if she crashes your party.
If we're gonna relive high school, let's relive high school.
Oh my God. I think we're 1 sleeping bag short.
She'll be fine.
Will she though?
It's because you did everything you could to make her feel excluded.
So did you.
Okay, but the difference is I'm gonna make it up to her.
So I'm leaving because you don't want Morgan thinking I'm your girlfriend?
I just don't want to confuse them.
I don't want them thinking I'm your girlfriend either. Look at you. You came back from college hot.
Paint me like one of your French girls? You really hid being gay from a group of gays? This is a fucking joke.
I was in SPUN.
So tell everybody who don't already know about Casey Calvert's amazing film SPUN.
SPUN is brought to you by GIRLSWAY, and if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And the main character is Chanel Cameron, and she's having some confusion about my character, Morgan. She comes back from college, or is in college, and she's like trying to convince herself that she likes boys and trying to convince everyone around her that she's not gay.
Yeah.
But it's so apparent to everyone, except for Morgan's girlfriend, my character. She's in for a surprise. So I thought that was such a cool, fun movie to be a part of.
Yeah.
Because I just felt a lot of, I don't know, it hit home for me a little. And also I just loved the aesthetic of the entire film and how it was shot. And I love how Casey shoots movies. So it was just, it was a really fun time to be on that set, and I loved it.
Yeah, when it came out this summer, and first GIRLSWAY film since the pandemic, so it's been a few years for us, and top of the charts. So like really amazing ensemble cast. Chanel, who was our lead, did an amazing job, but everyone was just like
spot on.
Yeah, and really good chemistry and just a good group. So definitely like a highlight for me for the year was like seeing that project come together.
No, she's such a sweetie too. I love working with Chanel. She's one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
And actually, funny enough, we went to summer camp together, and on the drive back, we were like talking about our lesbian experiences, and she was like, I think that like you're like my favorite girl to work with. And I was like, Chanel, hopefully she doesn't get mad at me for saying that. But I was like, I love that because we have such good chemistry.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel awkward.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions. What's it like to work with somebody on camera who you are really close friends with off camera?
It's weird because there's not the majority of the time. Actually, I got to work with someone that I really looked up to coming into this business. And it was a terrible scene. I looked up to her so much that when we did the scene, like I had to stop halfway through because I was like, I need a minute. I'm sorry. Like this is too much. Like it was overwhelming to me.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
But with Chanel, it's different. I don't know. Like I think that we both have like an understanding that we're like, I'm just fucking around with you, but also get over here.
Yeah, yeah. And there's like a friend chemistry, right? So
yeah. So I think that we emotionally and sexually we're just compatible, and then when the camera's on, it's go time. So I think we both really enjoy each other, and it just works out.
What was your favorite BTS moment shooting SPUN?
Gosh, favorite BTS moment. Well, first of all, I'm sorry. This has to be it. The food.
Oh, wow.
Carla is amazing.
Yeah.
That's my favorite BTS moment is there's always amazing food on set. And then also the fact that we're constantly getting yelled at because everyone is laughing with each other all the time. It's like hard. It's like wrangling cats, like herding cats with that many girls.
Yeah. You need to have a game plan as a director. This is another like pro tip.
Right.
As a director, you need to have a game plan on how to just keep the energy good, right? Because everyone's happy. They're laughing because they're happy.
Right.
But also keep the schedule moving along.
It's hard when you have that many girls on set and only girls.
Yeah.
It's just like yap.
I've had an orgy summer where I've shot a couple of big all-girl orgies, which have been epic. Like
Yeah.
now I feel like I just want to I can just do nothing but that.
Right.
Because they're so much fun. But I would say like the most interesting or the hardest part to manage time-wise are the consent conversations, because obviously with adult time we always do consent conversations before any scene, and usually your cast are like 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 people.
Yeah.
When you've got 10 people, it's not so much facilitating the conversation, because those are actually like really fun, good exchange of everybody's super tuned in to like wanting to know everybody's do's and don'ts, but it's stuff like the test checking and the signing of the kind of so I, from my first one to my second one, what it is, I formed an assembly line.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay, first time we did the test, it was sort of like, all right, now everybody check the test, and it was just kind of a clusterfuck. It was like everybody handing their phones,
right?
Nobody knowing who they've actually seen yet.
Yeah.
So we did an assembly line for the second one, where the first person in line got to see everybody's test and show their test, and then they got to go sign the paperwork, and we got the whole thing done in 5 minutes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's just it's hurting kittens.
Yeah,
but it's also just having a plan of attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's tricky. I think any orgy I've been on, people are they already love to talk, but girls are like, what have you been up to?
And also, if you got them styled in like really cute like costumes,
oh
and
my
that
God.
adds another layer of excitement.
It's over. Yeah.
But they're the best. Like they've been some of my favorite. Do you like doing like large group scenes, or are you more like a one-on-one type of performer?
I think it depends. It depends. I like one-on-one because I'm a giver and very attentive. So if I have one subject to like give my energy to, that's great for me, because I'm going to figure out what the dynamic is, whether that person is a little more domineering than me or whether I am. Like, we're going to figure that out. And I like that. But also the fun part about group sex is like, okay, this has been fun. I'm going to go over here and try this. This has been great. I'm going to go back over here. So it's just, you can jump around.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on what energy I'm craving that day. Because if I'm just kind of like, whatever, let's do it. Like, an orgy's fun.
Yeah.
But if I'm like, no, I really want a connection.
Yeah. Then you want the one-on-one.
Yeah.
All right, Freya, are you ready for some rapid fire questions to round this off?
I'm ready.
Speaking of one-on-one, do you remember the best orgasm you've ever had?
Gosh. I've had so many good orgasms.
It's not fair.
No. Yeah. I think one time with my ex-girlfriend, this was off-camera sex. We were having sex, and I think she thought she was hurting me because my reaction was so intense, and she stopped, and I was like, "What? No, keep going, like, don't stop." And I cried. That was a really good one. More recently, that was a really good one. So maybe that's up for Well, then there's also the time I did a VR scene, which is odd.
Yeah, I don't usually hear that as a way to start this answer.
Always tell the story because for the people that don't know, VR is really tasking. It's hard to shoot.
Yeah, not super sexy to shoot.
No.
Yeah.
And so it takes a lot on you, like physically speaking. And yeah, we were doing doggy, and I don't know what came over me, but we had to pause because I was crying because I was having an orgasm, and I was like, "Oh, can we just take a break for a second? I'm having an orgasm." And they're like, "Yeah, that's kind of the point of what you're doing here today."
You're like, "No, but I'm sobbing."
Yeah, I'm like
uncontrollable.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's that is when you know it's really good.
Yeah.
When you just like, and it's kind of neat when you get to that point, right? Because crying is such an emotion that you associate with like something negative happening,
or
stress or like sadness. And so when you're just like bawling and laughing, because you're like, why am I doing this?
It's a crazy feeling.
It is a crazy feeling. Yeah. Speaking of crazy feelings, what is like one little weird thing that you think about while you're touching yourself? Any oddball things you'd care to share?
Oh. Well, I think now because I do porn, I don't like I'm gonna put on some music, I'm gonna light a candle, and I'm gonna do my business.
Yeah.
And I usually just take situations that could have gone a certain way in my brain. I'm like a pervert. I'll be like, "Oh, I wish this would have happened." So I just go there.
Yeah.
I just like make up little stories in my brain.
So you're just directing.
Yeah. See, that's where the directing part comes.
Do you watch your own scenes?
I used to. Mm-hmm. When I got in, I was very intrigued by that. Mm-hmm. I was like, "Oh,
life
that's
imitating art."
Hot. Yeah, I was like into it. And then I don't know. I think that I've been doing this long enough where I'm like, no, that was a hard day, or I was tired, or So I can appreciate them, but I don't watch them.
Yeah. Do you like it as a porn fan? How has your porn fandom evolved now that you are a porn star? Like, do you still watch for pleasure? Can you still watch for pleasure at this point?
If I do, it's usually amateur porn or gay porn. Mm-hmm. I love watching men have sex with each other. It's like my favorite thing of all time.
That's also a real like lesbian thing to say.
Right? What is that about? It's true though. Like I just want to watch two really muscly hot dudes have sex with each other. So it's that, or it's like some amateur thing that I can barely see what's happening on someone's phone. I'm a weirdo. That's what does it for me.
So who fucks better? Guys or girls, since you've sampled it all?
It's so hard because they're both so different. It's a different kind of pleasure. Mm-hmm. I can come from penetration, which I don't know a lot of people that can do that. Like you could not touch my clitoris at all and I would be able to come. But also that's the important part in lesbian sex for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it depends on if I want something really emotional that's going to make me cry, then I'll have lesbian sex. But if I want something where I'm like, come over, bang me, and get out of my house, that's where the penis comes in.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends on
also
the day.
Also spoken like a true guy.
It's unfortunate.
All right. Well, Freya Parker, you've left me with several ideas for some amazing scenes. I hope you do take a stab at directing one day.
I would love to.
You should.
I think I should.
The more performers that we can encourage who have the talent, who have the drive, and who also have the care, that want to kind of like, continue to see this industry keep getting better and better.
Yeah.
That step behind the camera, the better. You guys really are going to be the next generation of like amazing content producers. So I'm leaving you with that pep talk. Thank you, Freya.
Awesome.
All right.
Yay. Bye.
We did it. Good work. Thank you.
Thank you.